Hi guys, how's it going? Christian Moreno here from Aquila Light Productions, and today we're gonna talk about After Effects basic training. So we have a series of videos where we're gonna show you how you can learn After Effects in just 10 basic steps. So each video is gonna take you to all the basic things that you need to know in order for you to be able to use After Effects today. Not tomorrow, not a month from now, but today. First, we're gonna talk about the introduction, which is just the introduction to the program, how to navigate, what are the tools. Let's not wait anymore and let's get into it right now. So, I'll see you guys in the screen right now. As soon as you open After Effects, then this window pops up and you have, create a new project or open a current project. In this case, we're gonna open a new project, and here we are. So the first thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys the type of windows. Here we have this window, which is for you to import footage. There we have the composition window, which is for you to look at the composition that you have in the timeline, which is basically the image or video you're working on. Third, we have the tools and preview effects and time control window. Then we have the toggle switches and mode here. So for here, this is where you're gonna adjust all the effects and transform all the tweaking and all the stuff is gonna happen here. And this is gonna be your timeline. So it's just kind of like a preview of what this is. Then now, for you to start importing footage, there are many ways to do it. The first thing is you double click on here, and then you can choose what you want, your footage. So let's say I just want this, so I click open, and then it will be here. As you can see here, it shows the information. When you click on it, it shows the information. It's 1080p, 24 frames per second, and 80 or 32-bit stereo, whatever. The second thing will be for you to click here. So After Effects also has that where you could just click here, press Control, and select many items and import it at the same time, or deselect things that you don't want and import everything at the same time. You can also import the entire folder if you want. So here we have a folder full of footage that I have for this tutorial. So then the second thing is that you can right click and then you can interpret this footage. And in this, you can see what the footage is. If in case you want to change the frames per second, if you want it to be 60 frames per second, 30, you can change it here. Also, you have the color management here, but we won't be using this for now. The duration and the 24p pull down the square pixels. Once you start working on some projects and you already have your timeline full of things, and then maybe you need to update the video so it's not the same, you change something, you wanted to keep it in the same project with the same things that you did, but instead you're gonna replace the footage. So we'll replace the footage for the new one, and it will appear here on your timeline. So that's really good. And then reload footage and then rebuild on Finder, so this will show you where it is in your computer. Now, another thing you could do is to press return, and you can rename this to be a woman drinking water. Now, it will change it here in Adobe Premiere Pro, but it won't change it on your computer, so it's good. It's just for you to know and identify your footage here. We can now go ahead and create a new composition. A new composition is basically the project you're gonna be working on, kind of like, like a piece of paper that you're gonna start drawing your cartoon or whatever. So you can think of it as like that, and you could have many pages and things. So that's a composition. That's how I look at it. Like, so you could create a composition from footage. So it will, all the specs from the video, the raw video you have, will become the footage, or you can create a new one. So let's go ahead and create a new one. So here we have a custom one. So we're gonna leave it at 1080p square pixels. Yeah, square pixels. We want it to be 24 frames per second. Yes. The duration 30 seconds. Yeah, we're working on a commercial, so we don't need it longer than 30 seconds. Then here we have advanced things, but in this case we're just doing the basic things. So here you can just adjust that. Yes, we want the color black, and we'll press OK. So that creates a new composition, comp number 1. And we have the timeline. Now, those are the two ways for you to put the footage into the timeline. So you could just drop it here into the composition, pull up here, or you could just drop it right into the timeline, right there. And oh, what is this? Oh, it's a girl drinking water. Oh. What about this? It looks yummy. What is this? Let's see. Oh, some food. Wow, that looks delicious. It's making me hungry. Do you guys like black olives? I like black olives. All right, anyways, guys. So yeah, so those are the two ways for you to import your footage. So you could either just drop it here or put it in here. Awesome. Now that we just looked at how this beautiful woman dances, well, at least she's having fun, right? So the next thing we're gonna take a look at will be the preview menu here. So as you can see, there's like, when you press play with the space bar and you're previewing, you can see that it's a little bit like pixely, and it's not playing like on real time, right? It's because it's not rendered yet. So at the top right here, you can have many design spaces of your workspace, but let's focus on this for now. So we'll just do it on small screen, and we're gonna work on the preview. So After Effects has a way of playing back the footage, and it's not the same as if you were editing in a normal Adobe Premiere Pro or Final Cut X or any other editing software. In After Effects, it's most like you have to render first before you can preview, kind of like a little bit of Premiere, but it's even heavier program. So here is the main command for you to tell Adobe what you want it to do. In this case, when you play back your footage, do you want it to play full resolution? So it will take longer for you to watch it, but so it will try to render it first and then you can play it back. So let's say it rendered that part, so I'm gonna watch it back, and you can see that now it plays good. But once it gets to this point where there is nothing rendered, you can see that it takes a little bit of time, and that's because you're playing it at full resolution. Now if you put it at half, it will play quicker. If you play it at third, it will play even quicker, but less resolution, right? So when you're working with like really heavy things and you have so many things in your timeline and so many effects and things and blah blah blah, you will want to be in a quarter depending on the capacity of your RAM and your computer. So this is a way of After Effects helping the computer work and for you to preview and see what's going on. Now, if you want it to be in real time, you need to wait until it loads. So for here, you have the option of setting new keyboards or key shorts for you to press play, right? So in this case, spacebar is standard for everything, so I think that's good. But you could also see other shortcuts that you could do on your keyboard. Also, if you wanted to play with audio, no audio, if you want to include this, or you want to reloop, when it plays, or just play straight and don't reloop. So let's say once it gets to the end of the clip, it will continue to loop and replay back. So it's kind of like a straight review of what the preview is. Mostly, I don't really use this, to be honest. I'm mostly focused here and here. I barely touch this. Just when I play back, I'll just play back with the space bars. But this is what it is, the preview. So in case you need to fix something here, make a shortcut, fix the frame rate or the resolution that you want to play at, then that's where you do it. Also, if we go here down into the timeline, sometimes you just want to focus on a specific region of your project. So you take this bar right here and you tell where you want to focus on, and then it will just render and play what you focus on. So if you press play, it always gonna play between these two, end to end. So this is really useful when you just want to focus on playing just one part. So we'll keep looping that part unless you tell it not to. But yeah, so that's what this tool is, and it's really helpful. Now another thing I wanted to explain is so in the preview, this is not the real time, but in the preview you won't change any settings here or anything. It's just the way that it plays back the footage that is on the timeline. So you could change the frame rate for you to preview. You can skip some frames and you can adjust the resolution. So in the preview you could always have it set differently, half, third, or a quarter. So it depends on what you want. If you select auto, it will play back to whatever you have set here. So if you have it set to full, so then when you play, it will be playing auto, it will be playing to full. If you have it a quarter, it will play it up to a quarter. So yeah, I think that's it about the preview. I think we just leave it there for now and just focus on another thing right here that I want to show you. So here, because I'm recording on the screen, I'm recording, I cannot, but adaptive resolution is basically a way for the computer to use the ramp to adapt the resolution depending on the performance of the computer. So it will play back. So because I'm recording right now with the screen and everything, I don't want to use this, but I will have it out if you're like you. But that's just in case you're working on something really big, like a big project, lots of layers and compositions and stuff. So you will want to have that adaptive resolution, so that you don't have to worry about changing this and back and forth. So it will adapt depending on the performance of your computer. You can just don't worry about it. Now another thing that we can take a look at the composition window is the zoom. So here you could just adjust it to how big you want it to be. So that's just how far. Also, if you scroll down, it will zoom in and zoom out. If you press Alt and you scroll in and scroll out, it will zoom in on where the arrow is pointing at. So if I'm pointing at the girl's face, it will zoom in on the girl's face. If I'm pointing at the vegetables, it will zoom in at the vegetables. So yeah, and you can also have it here. So if you want to put it to feed or to 6.5% or something, sometimes you'll want to get it there because you are working on other effects that you need the screen to be as little as that. Yeah. Also here on the top we have the tool set. So those are all the tools that we could use, but we'll get into those later. Also here in this new version of After Effects, you could move the screens around, change them depending on what you want to do, but it's easy. So the workspaces, here you could edit your workspaces. So depending on what you're working on, if you're working on essential graphics, color effects, minimal paint text, motion tracking, it already kind of has a like overflow menu of the workflows that the workspace that you could use or you want them to appear. So in this case we want standard small screen. So that's kind of like a shortcut for you to like change between workspaces in case they become unmanageable. Now, you can use the tilde key besides the number 1 key. Press this, and whatever you click, it will amplify the window. So it's help you to kind of like really quick get into whatever it is if you want to focus on just one point of the screens. So let's say you're working on here and you need to adjust this. So you want to focus here and move this around, blah, blah, blah. And press Alt and adjust things. So remember, if you press Alt and you zoom in, it will zoom in to the point where you want. Also, another thing will be if you press space, you kind of just like you can move it around also. So let's say you're not in the tilde here, you press space and you want to focus on this. Maybe this is way too big and you want to kind of just like move it around. You press the space bar and it turns into the hand that pulls to the sides. In case you already you worked on for a little bit on your project and you want to go back and you want to change the settings of the composition, you can always go back and composition settings and you can change the settings here. So you want it longer, you want to change the frame rate, square pixels, 1080p or anything else, you could always at any time come back here. Another thing that I like to do is you could just trim to the work area. You could press the right click and then trim to the work area, and it will just become to whatever you chose to be between these two, and it will just focus on that. So yeah, thank you so much guys. Please click on the next video because we're gonna be working on effects on Adobe After Effects basic training from Aquila Live Pro.